Angelo Acerbi from Fred Film Radio from the Torino Festival, here with Kire Paputts, the director of the last Porno show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice title and a tremendous opening of the film, which left everybody say, oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was important for me to get people's attention right away.
And you made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think trouble these days is people's attention spans are is terrible, right? You know, people are used to watching 2-minute movies or videos on YouTube, and they just don't have the attention span. So I wanted to right away hook them in, say, this is where we're going. You know, if you like it, stick around. If you don't like the opening shot, you should leave now because it's not going to get any better for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, you wrote it, directed, and produced the film yourself, so you had the whole control over it.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
And the story is the story of this guy who wants to become an actor, and he inherited a porn cinema from his dad.
Yeah.
That it's not in touch with anymore. And this is the very beginning. But then the development is very serious because, you know, the relationship between this guy and this place that was his home for a very long time when he was a kid, is getting on him deeper and deeper. So it tries to. So we have different layers of narrative there that you choose to keep together and to intertwine. How difficult was it writing-wise to keep the balance between the three different points?
Yeah, writing, it took a while. I mean, the first real draft of the script was probably almost 20 years ago. But that was like when I was like, you know, just out of high school. I didn't know what I was doing. So like me and two friends worked on an idea. And then whatever, it just didn't happen. Skip forward maybe to about 4 years ago, I decided to kind of revisit the idea. It's like, well, there's something here. It wasn't what we originally had written. So I basically scrapped everything except for the idea of placing it inside the porno cinema, and I kind of started from scratch again. But it was, I would say, on and off process of about 3 years of writing. And I think for me, writing doesn't come as naturally as directing. I only write because I have to, because I don't know any writers. So it's kind of like out of necessity, right? So, you know, so it's fun. I mean, it's good. It's been, I think I'm getting better as a writer now, like new things I'm working on. But it was definitely a bit of a struggle to kind of get the script where it was. But luckily I had a lot of close people who gave good feedback, and people I could rely on to bounce ideas off and that. So that really helped along the way as well.
What brought you to choose the fact of this man trying to identify with his dad? Because the more the movie goes into it, the more it tries to be like his dad was for him.
Yeah.
And it's become kind of obsessed about it. It's not just a relieving memories. It's something deeper than this.
Yeah. I think for me, I was interested in exploring the idea of, do we become our parents, which is something probably everybody struggles with at some point. You know, at least for me on my end, you know, I'll catch myself saying something or doing something, and I go, "Oh, that's what my dad would say." Right?
Oh man, please don't open that door,
yeah,
please.
Right? You know, and I feel like everybody goes through that, because I think when you're younger, you want to rebel against your parents. You want nothing to be with your. I'm going to be my own person. I don't want to be like you. You're old. You're out of touch. Well, what do you know? And then as you get older, you go, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm actually quite like them." And so that was an interesting idea to explore for me, and also because I feel like me and my dad had a pretty interesting relationship growing up. My dad, he's not a pornographer, but he was a musician, and I think his lifestyle, a lot of things happened in my youth, I think, that I can identify with the character of Wayne. And so I kind of wanted to explore that as well. But in this case, you know, my dad is still around, so we've been able to kind of like work through our issues. Yeah. But I wanted to like look at, you know, what would happen if, you know, what happened if I was taken away, or, you know, if I didn't have that closure, what would I be like? So that was kind of like the jumping off point for that.
Well, actually, the lead character of your film has to make disclosure by himself, because he cannot, as you say, talk with his dad, and he has to make it in this weird world that was his dad's word. Yeah. Because and now I want to talk about what is the I mean, the art direction of the film, because the visual that you use, the set design that you use is very specific and very creative and kind of disturbing at some point. You know, because his dad it's not spoiling the much, but his dad lives in this apartment full of mannequins. Yeah. Like fake like window mannequins.
Yeah, exactly.
They dresses up and.
I think the idea of the cinema itself. I mean. I lucked out because I didn't have any money, so we had to basically use a cinema that wasn't really being used. It's the only thing I could afford. But at the same time, I think it works out because it's such a rundown place. It kind of suits the environment of a porno cinema, right? So we did we had to paint the place. We had to do certain things to make it a bit better. But it was kind of pretty much ready to go. We moved in, you know. I mean, it was. Not only on screen but off screen, there were so many issues with that cinema. You know, the first day my team went in to go paint the cinema, the owner had fumigated the day before, so it was just this really bad stench of chemicals, and they were finding dead rats everywhere, and they had to work on all this really bad stuff. About 2 days into shooting the movie, my cast and crew were getting all these bites, like bites from bugs, and people were flipping out. And you know, so I called the owner. I said, "Hey, man, like my cast and crew are getting all these bites," and he's like, "Oh, well, you know, if there's bugs here, you guys brought them in. It wasn't my place." I'm like, you know, so he's like a slumlord, right? So basically, I had to pay to get the place sprayed again, my own, you know, on my budget, just so we could actually finish filming in there. You know, the cinema we used didn't have a running projector, so we had to shoot all those scenes at a different cinema. It was just like a lot of like headaches. But I think in the end, it works because it's so bad, you know. So I mean, again, it was probably the most stressed I've ever been in my life, but it suited it.
Well, it adds reality
100%.
to what we see. Yeah. I want to talk to you about this issue that the film makes clear about the relationship with your own intimacy and porn, which are two different words, but not that much, because your character watches porn, but he has an issue with intimacy with his own body and other people's body, because he's an actor. He has to do a sex scene in a film, and he cannot do it. Yeah. So, do you think have you thought of conveying a message that porn could be detrimental to your the use of your body, the concept that you get from your body compared to the bodies you see on the screen? Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, I didn't. I mean, like, I'm not against pornography at all. I didn't really want to take a stance on it too much. I feel like, you know, to each their own. If you're into that, then be into that, and that's fine. It's not. I mean, I have bigger issues with probably like graphic violence in movies. Not that I'm against it either, but I feel like graphic violence is probably more hurt, or it can do more damage than just people having sex. I feel like sex is very natural. Everybody has sex. Well, most people have sex. You know, I mean, most people. I'm gonna say everybody. Most. So I felt like, I felt for me, I didn't really want to take a stand against it, but I also didn't want to shy away from the kind of weird and crazy world that it is. And so it was always an interesting kind of fine line to balance. Originally, I actually wanted to make the pornography for the movie, but the problem is that Toronto doesn't have a very active adult entertainment industry. It's very kind of niche, very low budget, more kind of like webcam stuff. So I had to license all that material in the end. But I feel like when it comes to pornography, I wanted to kind of just just show it as it is and kind of let the audience kind of come to their own conclusions. There is also very clear sound and music from your shirt, as we said, that is very 70s, because everything the golden age of pornography was the 70s. And we are reevaluating those kind of films that were considered like Z movies as a different and alternative form of art now, you know? And you kept the taste of the 70s all through the film when we are into the porn story. Why did you do that?
Well, I think I was interested in, again, the idea of the golden age of pornography. You know, at one time, it was culturally acceptable to, you know, go on a date to go see Deep Throat or go, you know, Behind the Green Door. They would these movies made like millions of dollars. They were like big box office hits. And it's not only until the 80s and 90s where I think the culture changed around porno cinemas, where now it kind of became more of like a seedy place. You know, you think of like men with raincoats or more like kind of gay cruising spots, right? Where people go to hook up with one another. So it's interesting again on how as a society we our views change on that kind of stuff. And even now, I mean, porn cinemas are pretty much obsolete because porn is available for free anywhere in the world now, right? So it's for me, it was an interesting idea how we kind of gone from something that was like, you know, really held up, maybe not on a pedestal, but it was definitely really acceptable, and it kind of just slowly kind of made its way into like the underground and underbelly of culture.
One last question: why did you decide to create this microcosmos around the porn theater? Because when the lead character inherits this place, he wants to sell it, and then he understands that this place is not just a cinema, is like a small community of people gathering around his father. So he decided to keep the place in order to understand his father better, I think. Yeah. But why did you choose to create this community in the first place?
Definitely most of my films, I tend to focus on outsiders, people on the fringe, people who don't necessarily have a voice within the arts. And I felt like, you know, people who go to porn cinemas are exactly those kind of people who would be perfect in my kind of movies. And I also I grew up with movies, you know, by like John Waters or Harmony Korine, where they kind of use, you know, real people and people that you don't normally see in cinema. And I thought that was an interesting world to kind of like set a movie in, because there are a few films that obviously deal with pornography, but there's not many, and there's definitely none I felt that looked at the topics and subject matter that we do. So you know, I'm always trying to find new ways of.
And they are all judgmental at some point.
Yeah,
well, yours is not actually.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think for me it's important to kind of just paint the picture and let the audience come to their own conclusions. I don't want, you know, I don't want people to walk away and say, you know, I you know, that movie was, you know, an anti-porn movie or something, because like, you know, I'm fine with porn. It's, you know, porn is going nowhere. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, it's huge, right? And you know, people watch porn whether they want to admit it or not. It's around.
And then, to be honest, your film is much more than a film about porn.
100%. Yeah.
So, well, it's more intriguing part of it probably, but the movie is about like a relationship, like making peace with your own roots and your own memories. Yeah. This is it. Yeah. Again,
I feel like, you know, first and foremost, it's, you know, it's a movie about you know, a guy trying to reconcile his relationship with his dad. You know, it's, I feel like for me, I'm mostly proud of the heart of the movie. Like, it's got a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and like, yeah, all the porn, like I said, it's kind of, it's all secondary. It's just kind of like the icing on the cake. You know?
Exactly. Well, thank you very much, Kire Paputts, director of The Last Porno Show. I'm Angelo Acerbi from the Torino Festival for Fred, the Festival Insider.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was great.